Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing? Welcome to Monster Territory, brought to you by the Foul Territory Network. Last night was a long one with a disappointing finish, and tonight that was a quick one with a very satisfying finish for tonight. I couldn't believe how quickly that was moving here tonight. I was, watching the game. I was working on a couple other things as well, taking my notes throughout the game. And I realized, I'm like, wow, it is already the seventh inning for crying out loud. This one moved quickly tonight. Not really a whole lot to talk about with the breakdown. You had a few big moments, a nice performance from Lucas Giolito, a pretty tidy game, pretty tidy night overall. And the Red Sox win it with a final score of 3-1, moving back to 3 games under 500. My goodness, can we please go on a win streak? Listen, I like winning some series, but, I'm kind of ready for a couple of series sweeps. We need something like that. They got to go on some kind of a run here soon. You feel like, I don't know, they've been building this momentum here. They got to close this series out tomorrow. Walker Buehler, he's got a big game on his hands. But you feel like the way they've been playing as of late, the offense being pretty consistent for the most part, going back to the beginning of the Yankees series. And sure, 3 runs tonight, but you got a helping hand from Lucas Giolito, where he's been so up and down this year, but you got a good up from him tonight. We'll dive into his outing for tonight. But last night with the Red Sox, sure, they put up 8 runs on the board, but you could have had a lot more. I actually realized I didn't mention this number from last night. 4 for 23 in runners in runners in scoring position. I mean, the fact that they had 23 runners in scoring position last night, I mean, that's pretty big in itself, but you got to capitalize more. That was the big thing from last night. And tonight, you still had a lot of missed opportunities. 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position, but that one, you got it from Roman Anthony here tonight. First career hit, and knocking in a couple there for the Red Sox tonight. There's something different about this guy, man. When he's in this lineup, when you're watching him on the tube, on the TV, he just has a presence up there. It's something different. I said last night, he has this aura about him. I don't know, man. He just gives you that confidence. He just seems so, what's the word I'm looking for? So stoic up there. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to over dramatize it. It's just the way I see it, right? For example, Christian Campbell, I'm very excited for the career that he's about to embark on, or that he's already embarking on. But you see him, right? He's a little fidgety up there, right? I can also say this about Marcelo Meyer, where he's pretty cool in the box, right? But Christian Campbell, you almost feel like there's a little bit of, I don't know, like a little bit of nervousness up there. I don't say nervousness, but you know what I mean? There is something different. When Anthony's up there, it's just stoic. When Marcelo Meyer's up there, he's just a cool cat in the box, And Christian Campbell, obviously this guy has a ton of upside, ton of athleticism, but he's a little more fidgety up there. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling here, but Roman Anthony, this guy's really good. Leading the way for the offense tonight. Trevor Story also coming through here tonight. Before we do dive into the post-game breakdown, I do want to touch on the comments from Alex Cora. I've been seeing a lot of people talk about this, and, to be honest, this is something that people have been really hounding on Cora for a while now, and how he plays guys, or the lack of playing guys, especially lefties, against left-handed pitching. So today before the game, Chris Cotillo, he put out there that you're not going to expect Roman Anthony to be facing a ton of lefties, at least the top lefties in the game, right? So for example, you got Max Fried coming up this coming weekend. You're probably not going to see Roman Anthony get the start, right? He doesn't want to expose these lefty bats to these, top of the line lefty starting pitchers up there. And I'm going to be honest with you, obviously it's a positive for tonight. We got some feel good stuff to talk about for tonight. But I'm not a big fan of that. I'm really not. I understand you do have to find a bit of a balance with developing and also winning games. But to me, when Roman Anthony is clobbering lefties down in the minor leagues, and I get it. the guys that you're facing down in the minors, they're not going to be Max Fried. They're not going to be Carlos Rodon. I understand that. But to me, I think Roman Anthony showed you enough and then some down in the minor leagues to be able to get chances against left-handed pitching. I hope that's only the plan for the early going. I'm okay with that if he ends up kind of earning that trust over time and then he gets to go up against guys like Fried and Rodon later on in the season, then I'm cool with that. But still, then I look at it from the point of view where, okay, well, if you're trying to develop these guys, they got to go up against, these tough lefties, right? You got to have these challenging moments. That's anything in life. You got to get out of your comfort zone if you want to get better. And to me, I feel like someone like Roman Anthony, with what he's been able to do down in the minor leagues, I mean, a guy that's proven that he can hit both righties and lefties, I feel like, he should have a bit more leeway. And you know what? I'm even okay with Marcelo Meyer getting some exposure there a little bit. I think you get better by actually doing it, right? If you want to get better at something, sure, it's kind of like lifting weights, right? You don't really want to, let's say the bench press, for instance, right? You've never been on the bench press before. Well, you probably don't want to be loading up a couple of 45s on each side. You probably want to try the bar first off, right? You don't want to be jumping into all that. You kind of want to work up to it. So, but to me, if you already have that base strength established, right? I've seen guys over time, right, where, they go into the gym first time, they can do the bar, okay, let's throw a couple of 25s on there. Let's see what you can do. And they're, okay, that's easy for them. All right, I'll throw a couple of 45s on there. Oh, okay, that looks pretty good, right? So you know what I mean? But then some guys, maybe they can't work up to that right away, but some guys can right from the get-go. I think Roman Anthony is that kind of a guy, right? Let the guy have the volume or give him a bit higher volume at the get-go because I think he can handle it. And I think his body, his mentality up there, the way he handles pitching, how disciplined he is at the plate, I think he's more than capable of going up against good left-handed pitching. Fine. If you want to, maybe limit that exposure at the very beginning, all right, fine. Right. But you better find ways to get this guy in the lineup because he showed you tonight, being able to get a solid base hit on the pitch that he got it on. I'll talk about that in a second. But anyway, I feel like I'm rambling here. I might not be making all that much sense, but pretty much pointing out, I think Anthony should be getting more playing time against left-handed pitching. I don't like babying guys when you don't really need to. Maybe some guys, sure. Maybe you need to, maybe go a bit slow, right? But when you got someone so advanced like that, I don't think they should be being babied. You look at Jack Samaro from last year. He wasn't amazing against left-handed pitching last year, but he came through in some spots last year. He had a few homers against lefties. And you look at Jack Samaro this year, he's putting up better numbers against lefties. So I think that's a good example of a guy where, get him that exposure, against some good left-handed pitching. And then, you see how, he's continuing to develop this year compared to last, especially now that, even pitchers have gotten more scouting reports on him. They've been able to adjust to him more, but he's still putting up solid numbers. Anyway, that's my thought. I think it's like, I don't know. I'm not trying to sound like I'm complaining all the time, right? I'm saying every single day, Roman needs to get the call. Why hasn't this guy been called up yet? Well, now it's a new thing. Or, okay, why is he not going to be playing against lefties? To me, man, sometimes you need to let these guys just go. I think he can handle it. I think, in my opinion, I don't know. I don't agree with keeping him away from lefties or however they want to do it, right? Let this guy eat, man. Right? Let this guy eat. Anyway, I'm rambling there. Lucas Giolito, solid outing for him tonight. It just goes to show what you can do as a team when you have some at least decent starting pitching, right? You don't need a no-hitter every single time. You don't need a guy going out there striking out 12 or 13 every single time, but a guy that can work through a lineup, right? At least get through a lineup a couple of times, give you 5 or 6 innings, right? Even if you give up a run along the way, that's okay. It's okay. But to me, it really just shows when you get a solid outing from a starter, that really paves the way to a lot of opportunities, right? Good start for Lucas Giolito tonight. And big shout out. Man, oh man, Garrett Whitlock, Greg Weissert looking great tonight, especially after all the bullpen did last night. Good to see those two guys coming through for the bullpen here tonight. They looked great. Garrett Whitlock with a couple of innings, 3 Ks along the way. Greg Weissert getting his first save since last year against the Marlins. Greg Weissert, I've said before, this guy makes me nervous, but he is really growing on the confidence meter for me, and I'm actually feeling pretty comfortable right now with Weissert going on the bump. So, just a nice, tidy win tonight, a quick win tonight. Enough offense, good starting pitching, couple of arms out of the bullpen. Nice and tidy. Good win for tonight. Before we dive into the pretty minimal post-game breakdown for tonight, we do have a word from our sponsor.
Kratz, you look different today. Do I see Chubby's shorts on your shoulder?
Oh, the sick design. I mean, don't even get it twisted, too, because the lining normally is like an SOS pad. This lining that's in the center is so soft, so smooth. The outside, so many things to choose from on chubbyshorts.com.
Facts. And the code FOUL for 20% off. I got the Tiger Sharks.
Ooh-wee.
Little blend of a tiger and a shark. It's beautiful. So don't wait. For a very limited time, shop Chubby's biggest sale of the year, $45 shorts and up to 65% off select gear. Hit up chubbyshorts.com and grab your favorites before they're gone. If you missed the sale, then use the FT code, FOUL in lowercase for 20% off. Support FT, let them know we sent you when the survey asks, and get ready to turn some heads. Summer's here. Dress like it in Chubby's.
All righty, let's get to it here, shall we? Roman leading the way for the Red Sox tonight. I mean, they got it done pretty early here tonight. First inning, Rafi with a base hit. Carlos Narvaez with a double, right? Probably should have just been a base hit, but hit it out to left field. And Christopher Morel, I don't know what this guy was doing out there. He just made quite the throw out there tonight. But that moved Narvaez up to second base. Rafi got to third there. Roman comes up, gets a nice double there. First career hit. A changeup so far out of the zone, man. But and you look at Roman, right? He's not even, just flinging the bat out there, right? Just still, keeps his composure up there. He keeps the mechanics still looking good. Still able to do damage on a changeup out of the zone like that. That's just how good this guy is, man. Roman Anthony, first career base hit, and he made it count. I'd say that's a good sign for things to come with Roman Anthony in his career. Fifth inning, Trevor Story. Hey, staying productive as of late. Listen, I don't need Trevor Story, to be, hitting 400 or 500 over like a 2-week stretch. I'm okay with that. But if he's actually just, doing something productive, I'm okay with that. And hey, Trevor Story, another home run here, right? He's hitting a few dingers as of late. Go back to the Braves series a few series ago, the Yankees this past series, and now hitting another one. And that was also off a fastball, right? This is a guy that's mainly been hitting homers off of breaking balls for most of the early part of the year, and hitting it off a four-seamer tonight. And you go back to the last home run, that was off of a sinker. So I feel like Story, listen, I'm okay with this Trevor Story. I don't need him going, 5 for 5, 3 for 4 every single night. I don't need that, right? At least produce a little bit more consistently. And that's what he's been doing so far this month. I see you in the chat, George White. Thank you for that stat, 11 RBIs in June. Again, listen, if you're driving in runs, we need all the runs we can get without Alex Bregman in the lineup. Listen, you gotta just get some runs across the board. I don't care if it's a sac fly. I don't care if it's a grounder to the opposite way, runner on third, whatever it may be. Even if, a bases loaded walk, I'm okay with that. Get some runs across the board. Do what you can until Alex Bregman gets back into this lineup, man. But Trevor Story, you can see the confidence with Trevor Story right now on the home run. Nice little bat flip to go along with it. I think it's a good sign. He's hitting a home run off of a fastball, right? He's not just doing it against these breaking balls that are hanging over the zone. He's doing it against velocity. I like that. I think that really shows that he's got his timing right again. The mechanics are looking good. He's catching up to these pitches. Really like what we're seeing from Trevor Story as of late. Nice to see it. A nice turnaround from what we were getting in May. Christian Campbell, you could say so, with that as well. Lucas Giolito. Very solid night for Lucas Giolito. A very nice bounce back performance from his last outing. 6 innings, 1 run allowed, 0 earned, 98 pitches on the night, 4 strikeouts, but just an efficient outing for Giolito. Listen, I'm okay with these outings, man. Even if he ends up giving up like 1 or 2, I'm fine with that, right? Even 3 on some nights, I'm fine with that. I just want a guy to just go out there and just give you some innings, right? Lots of fastballs up in the zone tonight. I said this last night. I told all of you, I said, listen, the Rays, they're more of a ground ball hitting team. They don't hit a lot of fly balls. They're definitely more ground ball heavy. Lucas Giolito, historically in his career, has been more of a fly ball pitcher. And he worked that perfectly here tonight. Fastballs up in the zone, changeups low in the zone, right? Changing eye levels, working in some sliders along the way, right? I felt like it was a good matchup for Giolito coming in, right? Because it was, again, he does something different from what the Rays try to do. And I thought that was a good matchup for Giolito coming in. And in fact, I actually, on Underdog Fantasy, I actually put in a little something on Giolito for tonight. I was that confident, and I checked off that box on a good bet for Giolito tonight. I did feel good about it. He worked efficiently, like I said. He also got some good defense in the 6th inning as well. Roman Anthony with a nice catch out in right field. Now, last night, I was not okay with Roman Anthony being out in right field. And the reason I wasn't okay with it last night, because again, it's your major league debut. He's mostly played left and center field in the minor leagues. He's played a little bit out and right. I just felt like first game, especially when you had to rush there from Worcester, you got a spacious right field. It's a lot bigger than you think it is. When you get out there, you think, oh, well, wow, there's a little something out here, right? Obviously that's a play that he needed to make last night. There's no excuse for that. I just felt like, to me, it would have been a better idea to put a more sure-handed guy like Cedon out in right field. That's just kind of how I looked at it personally. And then, you could have put Roman out there today, right? You got a fresh start today. You get to the ballpark early. You kind of get used to your surroundings out there a little bit. He kind of, I don't know. To me, there was just a lot of nerves with him going on yesterday. It's easy to get on to, a missed ball like that. At the end of the day, we're all human. I just feel like, I don't know, that might not have been a good spot for him to play last night, just looking at the human aspect of it. But today, I'm okay with him being out there. Made a nice catch there. Marcelo Meyer, nice scoop as well. There's a bit of a high chopper to him, and just makes it look easy, man. And threw it on to first, got the out. Marcelo Meyer, I love how he looks in the field. He's so smooth out there. He just makes everything look easy. He makes everything look effortless. Sure, he's had a couple little mishaps along the way. But I don't know, it's just the way he is out there. Just a sure-handed guy. He's smooth out there. I'm excited for him to be the shortstop for the Red Sox in the future, man. Very excited. Garrett Whitlock, Greg Weissert here tonight. Like I said in the intro, these guys just look great. And you needed that from this bullpen tonight. You needed a good performance from the bullpen here tonight. Greg Weissert, like I said earlier, first save since last July. Only needed 7 pitches to close this one out tonight. He's been pitching with a lot of confidence as of late. Last 7 outings, 1.50 ERA. Last 15 games, 13 1/3 innings pitched, ERA at a 2.70. Things are just looking very good with Greg Weissert lately. He just looks confident out there. Mechanics seem to be in check. That's something with him. He's got that bit of a wacky, a wacky setup, I would say, right? He's got that front foot, just so much more, further than the foot on the rubber. And the way he just kind of has to do his delivery, it's funky, right? I feel like this is a guy, when his mechanics are a little bit off, that's when he tends to get into trouble. But everything is just moving right now. He's just, his tempo out there just looks a little better. He just looks more confident out there. He's moving well. Really liking what Greg Weisser's doing as of late. And Whitlock before him, he looked great as well. Combo of sinkers and sliders. He was getting guys to chase the sliders out of the zone. He was attacking the zone with the sinkers. Whitlock kind of giving you some flashes of 2021 a little bit. I feel like when he's getting you to chase out of the zone, but he's also pounding the zone as well, that's the Garrett Whitlock that you need. It's what you need. But overall, like I said, quick, tidy win for tonight. Good win. And you got a chance now to win back-to-back series against AL East opponents, against two teams that are ahead of you in the standings. So if you can get that win tomorrow, you're looking pretty good. You're building some confidence. And listen, man, if they win this one tomorrow, I think vibes are going to be very good. Honestly, I think if they can pull this off tomorrow, if they can win this series, I won't be able to remember a time when vibes were so high for a team that would be 2 games under 500. Sounds weird, right? But things feel good right now. They do. I know, sure, that loss stunk last night, but you get a good series win in the Bronx. Nice tidy win here tonight. Again, they got to close this one out tomorrow. Let's see how things go tomorrow, but things will be looking good if they win that series tomorrow. Before we go talk about Game 3, we do have one more word from our sponsor.
If you're one of those on-the-go people or you're skipping meals but you don't want to, there's got to be a quicker solution. We've got one for you. It's called Huel. I'm going to take a swig. Cheers to Huel. This is the Black Edition, plant-based as well. Good for me. But what do you like about it?
I like the nutrition of it, and the replacement meal is great for me. If someone always on the go, like, man, I can just grab one of these out of my fridge, lunch, breakfast, whatever it takes, whatever meal I'm not going to have time to eat. It fills me up, and it tastes great. You know why? Because it tastes like milkshake, ice cream, whatever you want to call it, whatever flavor you get is delicious.
35 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, 27 vitamins and minerals, low sugar. You can get yourself 15% off plus a free gift for new customers using the exclusive FT code FOUL, F-O-U-L, at Huel.com/FOUL. Please see our description for terms and conditions. Skip the stress, not the nutrition. Try Huel today for complete nutrition, bottled.
Alrighty, let's get to the Game 3 preview, shall we? And Walker Buehler, all eyes are on you, my friend. A very tough outing in his last outing against the Yankees in his return to Yankee Stadium. But he did have some success against the Rays his last time out. Now, his last outing against the Rays, he went 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned. Took a very similar approach to Lucas Giolito tonight. Except with Buehler his last time, Buehler, he's got a lot of different pitchers that he can play with. Obviously, things were not looking good at Yankee Stadium. He was not on top of his stuff. He was just kind of a mess in that one. He did not look good from the get-go. But against the Rays his last time out, very similar approach. He went fastballs up, off speeds down. He was executing very well in that outing. He was also working in some sliders in and out of the zone, just like Giolito tonight. Just, a very simple approach. And honestly, I would like for Buehler to take that approach here. Get back to that fastball a little bit, right? Sometimes when you just keep things simple like that, changing eye levels, getting guys to chase out of the zone, fastballs up, change-ups low, right? Maybe work in some breaking pitches as well. Hit your spots, throw strikes. It sounds, it's easier said than done, but, pretty simple approach. All right. In that outing, you got lots of weak contact as well. You got a lot of weak grounders too, right? Like I said, the Rays, they tend to really pound the ball into the ground a lot, but he was able to induce a lot of weak contact in that one. So let's see if he can do the same thing here in this outing against the Rays, man. We're going to need this one. But luckily, something that you could look at. He did have some success his last time out. Now, if we're looking at some of what these guys have been able to do against Zach Littell, who did have a good start against the Red Sox his last time out. He went 6 innings. I believe he only gave up 1 earned. But if we're looking at the history here, let's forget about that last outing, right? Still a lot of success against Littell, right? Devers, Duran, Romy, David Hamilton even. All of these guys have over 1,000 OPS against him. Even Abraham Toro has 1,000 OPS against him. Devers, Duran, Hamilton, right? Home run against Littell. Let's see. Let's see what ends up happening in this one. I do feel good about this run. The fact that Giolito was able to bounce back the way he did, he was able to make the adjustments. I think Buehler, especially with what he was able to do against the Rays the last time out, hopefully he made some good adjustments this past week. He goes in with a good game plan. And let's get this series win. But everybody, let's start to wrap it up there. And let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. We got about another minute here before we got to wrap up shop. Let's see. I see some of you saying maybe Christian Campbell needs to be sent back down to the minor leagues. I don't agree. I don't think so, right? You got to let these guys work through it at the major league level. He's been here for a while now. I just think unless it got really bad with Christian Campbell, I'm not sending him back down to the minors. You keep pushing on through. He's been able to do some good things his last time out. I think Christian Campbell needs to stay. But, on that note, we are going to wrap it up right there. We are out of time here for tonight. But everybody, we'll be back here tomorrow for the series finale. Go enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you so much for coming out to the show tonight. If you can on the way out, hit that like button for me. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you tomorrow.